Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to use ratio tables to solve proportion problems. So a ratio table is a tool that is used to solve problems that involve proportional reasoning. All right, first problem is 3 students in a group, how many in 10 groups? So the way that I set up my ratio table is I start with the initial relationship, which is 3 students in one group. So I'm going to put 3 over 1 like this. And then the question's asking me how many do I have in 10 groups. So in this ratio table, I've got students and groups. Draw a line. I could double each of these values and find that I've got 6 students in 2 groups. I could continue doubling. The doubling is one of the strategies that can be used in a ratio table. In this case, the problem's asking me to find 10. So I'm going to go from 3 to 1 and multiply by 10. So 30 and 10. So my solution is 30 students in 10 groups. Okay, this middle step was just for an example to show you how the table works. So each of the columns in the table is an equivalent fraction. If you put 3 over 1 and you set it equal to 6 over 2, they are equivalent fractions. Okay, next question. 12 eggs in 1 dozen. How many are in 5 dozen? So 12 in 1 dozen. Well, I could use my multiplication by 10, and I could figure out that there are 120 eggs in 10 dozen, like that. And then I could go back down to 5 by halving. So half of 10 is 5, half of 120 is 60. So the operations that I'm applying here for each step of this table, here I did a multiplication by 10, and here I did division by 2. And that operation applies, well, it looks like an addition, it's actually a division. Yeah. Okay. That operation applies to the top value as well as the denominator in this case. So 1 times 10 is 10, 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the solution to this question is 60 eggs in 5 dozen. This is eggs and dozen. That's converting using a rate. All right, let's try another one. 15 cookies in a box. How many cookies in 8 boxes? In 1. I'm going to have 30 cookies in 2 boxes. That's a doubling. Double again. 60 cookies in 4 boxes. Double again. 120 in 8 boxes. So it's cookies and boxes. So this final value here is the answer to that question, how many cookies in 8? Okay, next one. If you're getting paid $15 an hour, how much would you be paid for 4.5 hours of work? This one's going to require an addition. Okay, so I'm making $15 per hour. So that's the same unit ratio or unit fraction to start with, 15 to 1. And then how much for 4? Well, I'm going to do a doubling and say I would get $30 in 2 hours and $60 in 4 hours. So I'm almost there. I'm also going to add an additional half an hour of work. So I'm going to go back to my original unit ratio. So I've got 15 to 1. So in a half an hour or 0.5 hour, I would be making half of $15. That's $7.50. So then for 4.5 hours of work, my combined income or combined pay is the $60 plus the $7.50. That's $67.50. This is dollars, and this is hours of work. So it's a neat way to organize your work and to see the steps of the process. And it avoids having kind of rough, scribbly calculations all over the page. Okay, 20 oranges cost $6. How much for 5 oranges? So this one I'm going to have to be dividing down. So 20 costs 6. And I'm comparing oranges to cost. All right. So 20 to 5. I can divide down and get to 5. I'm going to divide first by 10. No, 2. That's 2 by 2. Go to 10. Divide 6 by 2 is 3. So I've just done a halving. So half of 20 and half of 6. And then I can go half of 10 is 5. And half of 3 is 1.5. So 5 oranges costs $1.50. I'm going to add that extra 0 in there because this is dollars and cents. Okay, so a ratio table works for multiplication as well as division, because you're just doing equivalent fractions in both cases. Last question, where my rate includes a decimal. 1 muffin costs $1.25. How much would it be for a dozen? So one of the pieces of information that you would need to remember is that a dozen is 12. So 1 muffin, I'm going to put the 1 on the top here, is $1.25. How much for a dozen? Okay, well, I'm going to go doubling. So 2 muffins is $2.50. Double both values. 4 muffins is going to be, double that's $5. And then 12 muffins, 4 times 3 is 12, so triple. 5 times 3 is 15. So I would be getting 12 muffins for $15 total. And that's how you use a ratio table to solve problems involving rates.